Carlton Fisk, Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, Red Sox Hall of Famer. Thanks so much for stopping by and taking the time here today.
It's good to be here for a good cause. It was always Mr. Yockey's #1 cause, and when I played here, they had just a little sign up on the right field facade. This was before upper deck and before suites and all that, but there was a little sign up there on the facade that just said Jimmy Fund. And that was the only sign in the whole ballpark. He didn't want another sign in the ballpark, and you go, oh, man, look at all the signs in the ballpark.
Well, so, I mean, that's one of many ways. I was just going to ask you this anyway, but that's one of many ways, we've seen this grow over the years. What's your experience been with the growth of the Jimmy Fund and the relationship with the Red Sox?
Well, when I was playing here, it was the only sort of charity foundation or function that we were, committed to or aware of. Not that there weren't other ones, but since then there's been so many cancers that have struck so many people. As a matter of fact, I'm a survivor, so it's amazing that you can have telethons and raise money and have people be benevolent and philanthropic, and that dang disease is still out there. It's hard to believe that you can go to the moon, but Mother Nature and the body is way smarter than everybody else. So, and way meaner and more evil too. So it's something that we all ought to get a handle on. I don't know how we're going to do it.
So facing down the illness yourself, how did that change your perspective? And now when you return to something like the Jimmy Fund, where you see so many patients coming through these doors and the people who take care of them from Dana-Farber?
Before, back in the day, it seems as though that all you were aware of was that the person who had cancer. I'm involved in a cancer support center in Illinois and have been for years and years and years. And that sort of addresses the fact that it affects more than just the person. There's so many people that are affected and really react so much differently with every family. Some people have hope, some people don't. Some people know that it's a matter of time, a lot of times short times, and then they get hope about the remission and you think it's gone, and then all of a sudden, I don't know why, but years and years and years later, it may come back and slap you in the head. So it's something that you have to address all through the family, not just with the person. But the thing is so heartbreaking is that, if you're an adult and you live in the city and you're dealing with pollution or you're smoking or you're drinking or you're exposed to just a lot of things from I don't know, air to cleaning agents or whatever, and there's so many things that are carcinogenic, but how does it happen that a 6-month-old baby can have leukemia or heart disease or a brain tumor, or it just baffles me what's the catalyst that the catalyst that allows that to happen, and then all you're doing is just feeling sad. I feel sad.
No, I look. We've talked to some young patients here. We have some more scheduled for tomorrow, and it is very moving. It's true.
Yeah, it certainly is. You're considered an all-time great in 2 organizations and 2 cities. You had a bit of a, I don't know if I did characterize it this way, but a complicated ending to your time here in Boston. Coming back and sort of being a part of this and being back in the city, how's all that for you?
It's a really feel-good situation. There's not many places you can go to and they still think you're a legend, and they still appreciate what you've done and how you did it. And even though it's so long ago, I hate to admit it, and I always look at those pictures and go, geez, who is that young guy? Golly, man, it's hard to remember. But the fact that I come back and, people appreciate your contributions in a lot of ways, not just on the field, but, your reactions and your relationship with the fans, and then with the communities, and then with the organizations like the Jimmy Fund. So it's kind of a homecoming time thing. Every time I come here, I feel like this is. I mean, I grew up just 2.5 hours north of here in New Hampshire, so I'm a New Englander through and through, as my wife always reminds me that I'm a cheap, tight little big dude. But being a New Englander, you really hang on to the things, sometimes longer than you should. But but coming back here, it really feels comfortable.
And you're here for the whole series, you were telling us?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I have a very nice relationship with the Red Sox. Although, like when I left, there were different owners, and
Sure.
after Mr. Yawkey died, things were a little complicated. I can't use the kind of language that I would.
We got dump buttons there. Yeah.
That what I referred to those two guys about, but to be able to come back, I always felt like I was going to come back in some way. But the kids and the grandkids are in the Midwest, and my wife says, "Hey, you want to go back? See ya." I'm staying with the kids. So, no, but I still have 2 brothers and 2 sisters that live up in New Hampshire and Vermont. So it's, like I say, it's really nice to come back.
What's it like coming back to Fenway a year after all these years and seeing the way that it changes, every 5 years or so, everything from the advertisements, the signs that are up there, like you were saying, to them putting seats on the Green Monster?
That is really interesting, because I come back here and all over the Green Monster there's advertisements, and all above the Green Monsters there are advertisements. And when I played here, they didn't have that big, huge jumbotron, and the only thing that's been a sort of a stake in the ground is the old scoreboard over there, where you can make believe you're in an old ballpark. But
Yeah, you put some dents in that thing.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, in that one too, but
Yeah.
you should have seen the other one when they took that out. The number of rats that rolled out of that thing. But a couple of them were Yankees, I think. No. But to see how this has changed and improved, a lot of people change ballparks, but for change itself. But everything that's changed here has a purpose. It just used to be a grandstand on the roof when I first started here, and then it started, the suites, and then the grandstands above, and then more and more. But it always blended. It always looks like it belonged, and that's where this ballpark is such a fan favorite, and it's nostalgic, and it's a ballpark that I think everybody likes to or wants to come and see.
All right, when people talk about the greatest home runs of all time, they talk about Bobby Thompson, they talk about Joe Carter, and they talk about you. What do you think is the all-time greatest home run ever hit?
Oh, some guy from New Hampshire hit it, I think. I don't know. I forgot his name.
It's Did you know when you hit it, the significance would still, like, it's in, I Good Will Hunting, not to date myself, but it's like it shows up in all this other media. Like, did you know when that happened? I knew it was a huge home run in that World Series, but that would have the impact it still has.
No, yeah, I really didn't. It was a home run that won the ball game, and it was way past my bedtime, and I was kind of glad it was over. But no, I know that at the time, basically TV was just kind of beginning its sort of total coverage of games. It used to be the camera behind home plate and the camera in center field, and that was it. And so you showed the pitcher pitching, and then the guy behind home plate tried to follow the ball to the outfielders or whatever. But in that game was one of the first games they had, I didn't even know, 8 cameras in the camera well, and then in the scoreboard, and left field, right field, and all that kind of stuff. So in that way, I'm really grateful that they did have those, because it's made me relevant every time the World Series comes around.
Well, they got Netflix cameras following these players around everywhere they go.
Jeez, I know.
The times have changed a little bit.
And cell phones, boy. I'm pretty kind of glad that they didn't have cell phones when I played.
I'm sure.
I might be in jail. You never know. Still.
Well, Carlton Fisk, thanks so much for coming on, sharing your story, and contributing to the Jimmy Fun Radio.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
I know you've seen it change the relationship over the years, but thank you for staying involved.
I always wish you could do more and make more of an impact, but you people do a nice job raising money for that fact, and hopefully it'll benefit a lot of kids.
Okay, listen to Carlton Fisk. You can donate